Only one of them returned. The wedding dress stayed folded in its box. It was never altered, never worn. The letters stopped arriving before the war ended. No goodbye, no final explanation. By the time the trains brought survivors home, she already knew his name would not be called. In 1939, Cicely Lefort was living in England. She was in her late 20s. She worked during the day and wrote at night. Her letters were always dated. The handwriting, careful, margins straight, nothing crossed out. George Lefort was a French officer. He wrote from wherever he was stationed, sometimes from proper desks, sometimes from places he didn't describe. He always began the same way, not with affection, with reassurance. They met before the war expanded to swallow Europe. Introduced through shared circles, they spoke easily, quietly. They became engaged without ceremony, no announcement, no photographs. They agreed on one thing clearly. They would marry after the war. Their relationship existed mostly on paper. George wrote whenever he could, sometimes weekly, sometimes less. His letters were practical. He wrote about where he was sleeping, about the weather, about meals that barely counted as meals. In one letter, he wrote that he was keeping track of the days, not because they mattered, but because it meant the war was moving forward. Cicely wrote back with precision. She told him what time she woke up, what she cooked, what book she was reading. In one letter, she reminded him of the wedding date they had discussed, not emotionally, just to confirm it was still understood. Neither of them used dramatic language. They didn't write about fear. They didn't write about death. They wrote as if the future was intact, delayed, but untouched. They believed that writing it down made it real. In 1940, France fell. Borders closed. Travel stopped. Communication slowed, then fractured. George was captured, classified as a prisoner of war. Cicely remained in England, unable to visit, unable to intervene. Letters still moved, but they were censored, delayed, sometimes lost. Still, they wrote. In 1941, George was transferred again. The return address on his letters changed, then disappeared. In one of the last letters that reached her, he wrote that the transfer was temporary, that the war was nearing its end, that she should not worry. He asked her to wait. Cicely read that letter more than once. She did not answer immediately. When she did, she told him she would wait. Not because she had no alternative, because she believed him. She turned down invitations. She delayed decisions. She kept her life arranged around an absence she believed would end. This was the last time they made a decision together. In 1943, the letters stopped. No explanation, no official notice, no final words. Cicely wrote anyway. Weeks passed, then months. She wrote to the Red Cross, to military officers, to anyone who might know where he was. Some replies came back, most did not. After the war ended, trains arrived. Men returned. Families gathered at stations. George did not appear. His name was not called. Years later, fragments of information surfaced. Transfers, camp records, incomplete forms. At some point, George died in captivity. The date unclear, the location uncertain. No final letter was recovered. No confirmed grave. There was no moment of certainty, only a gradual understanding. Cicely never married. She kept the letters for decades. Filed, preserved. She spoke of him rarely, not with grief, with restraint. Friends described her as composed, but unchanged. She lived as if something had been paused and never resumed. In her personal papers, one detail remains. Her name stayed Lefort, not by marriage, by choice. The engagement ring was never returned. The wedding date was never crossed out. There is no record of her declaring him dead. Only absent. Two people planned a future. History made it impossible. One came back. One never did. Their love did not end. It was left unfinished. Thank you very much for going through this story with me. If you loved this story, consider liking and subscribing. Also, here's another story you'll love.